Hello everybody, it's the Radio 25 here, bringing another video, and today we're going to do a video on the wide receiver position in 2019 for the Miami Dolphins. What's going on, who we have, what's going to happen in training camp, who I think has a chance of making our roster. So if you look on our roster right now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 wide receivers. I think a realistic number to make the roster is like 6, maybe 7, even maybe 5. So I took the liberty of picking the 6. I chose 6 as my number, or the 6 who I think will make the roster. Like there are guys like this Reese Warren I don't know too much about, and like Sade Blacknell I don't know about those guys. Like Bryce Butler, I say it for they've been on the team a couple years, and they're not very good, obviously. So the first guy we're gonna look at is Albert Wilson. So if you look at his stats, his stats were mediocre at best. But when he was on the field last year for us, any Dolphins fan can uh, confirm this, as he was very good. He was lighting it up, super fast. He there's especially against the Bears, like there was a couple and like in the Raiders, there's a couple passes he took and just he was gone. If he finds that little bit of space, he's gone. He's gone. Maybe he does have sometimes hard making that space when he's getting off the line. He has a hard time, separating himself from the defender. But when he does and gets the ball in his hands, he's a playmaker. And when you're, a team with not that much talent, you need big playmakers like him. So I think he's a lock to make the roster. I think he'll be our slot guy. 'Cause, that's his natural position. And so he's a lock. And if you look at his stats last year, in only 7 games, 26 receptions, almost 400 yards, 4 TDs, his long of 75. And I know he had another huge um, touchdown as well. Did he rush? And he threw a touchdown last year. Yep. His only pass touchdown in his career was a touchdown. Or yeah, well, the duh. But yeah, let's go to Devontae Parker now. Um, I think all of us as Dolphins fans realize that Devontae Parker isn't gonna live up to his first round talent. He's a number 3 guy maybe on your roster, and he'll make the roster. Obviously, I think they paid him like somewhere like 8 mil. So if you're making that much money, you're gonna make the roster. But if you look at the stats last year, he played only in 11. He's never played 16 games in a season. 2016, he came close. He had 24 receptions, 309 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, it's not very good at all. Um, Other than that game against the Texans, like that's the only game that I even recognized him even playing in, to be honest. Like that game, he did really good. I think he got like 100, over 100 yards. So I mean, that's a third of his yards right there. The rest of those 200 came in the 10 other games. So I mean, I think we all understand he'll make the roster. He's a decent wide receiver, but he's not going to be a first round talent. Never will be. It's actually something interesting. Like I feel like first round wide receivers don't always pan out. They're like the most capable of being a bust. But you have to take that risk because then you can get a guy like Odell or Julio Jones, something like that, a huge playmaker. That goes up as Kenny Stills. He's been the most reliable target for us over the years. Last year he took a step back, but he still had 553 yards on 37 receptions. That's a 14.9 average. That's pretty decent. With 6 touchdowns, a long of 75. Uh, One thing about Kenny Stills, he's a number 2 guy. He's a reliable number 2 guy, a good number 2 guy. I mean, look at his career. He's played 16 games every year except for last year in 2014, where he only missed 1 game. That's really hard to do at the wide receiver position. And he does it, and he puts up decent numbers every year. He's a good wide receiver number 2 on most teams. So I have no problems with Kenny Stills. I think he's a good guy. Good play. I don't know the guy. I mean, just a good player. Next up, we got Jakeem Grant. Um, he actually started to come in a little bit as a receiver last year before he got hurt. He played 10 games, which is kind of surprising. I thought he played less than that. But he played 10 games before I think he tore his ACL or something like that. He might have torn his ACL, but he had 21 receptions on 268 yards and 2 touchdowns. And like I think he keeps improving as a receiver. And if he continues to improve, he'll have better receiving stats this year. But where he really shines is as a return man. I think if he would have stayed healthy the whole year, he had a good chance of making the Pro Bowl as a return guy. He had 2 touchdowns, 1 kick return, 1 punt return. And you look at his average. Does it show average? It doesn't. But I mean, he was returning balls pretty deep. So I'm fine with that. I think he's going to be a good return man again. He's one of the better ones in the league, in my opinion. It's hard to get 2 touchdowns in a season, and he did it in 10 games. So Jakeem Grant, these 4 guys, like I said, Albert Wilson, Devontae Parker, Kenny Stills, Jakeem Grant, all locks. Those are locks. Now, the 2 guys that I think will sneak in are one, this guy from undrafted rookie from Colorado State. His name's Preston Williams. There's no picture of him. And I went on ESPN. There was no picture of him there either, and they didn't even have college stats. So I had to come on to sportsreference.com to find his college stats. And as you can see, as a freshman, sophomore, and junior, he didn't really play. I think this must have been a transfer year probably. And then last year for Colorado State, he had in 12 games, he had 96 receptions, 1,400 yards, and 14 touchdowns. That's insane, really, if you think about it. I mean, those are insane numbers for 12 games, and you don't know who's throwing him the ball at Colorado State. And if you look at his size, 6'4", 210. If we just got a gem in the rough with this guy, he can be a number 1 wide receiver. I know that's not going to happen, but if he performs in training camp, he has a chance to make this roster. And we need a big guy like that at 6'4", 210, who can go up there, get the ball as like, a good receiver, not Devontae Parker. So I think this guy really has a chance to make the roster. I hear a lot of good things from different guys, or know a lot about football. So I have high hopes for this guy. And last, the guy we just signed, Alan Hurds. Now I'll admit I don't know much about Alan Hurds' game. Um, I did see the ankle break last year. That was pretty gnarly. But if you look at him, he had 1,000-yard receiving season. If you look at everybody else, not one guy that is on our roster, Kenny Stills came close, and that doesn't guy hasn't played in the NFL, has had 1,000-yard receiving season. So I mean, even having that might be worth something. And if you look at last year, he only got 20 receptions, and he still got over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. If he comes in maybe as a number 2 guy, he performs well. He's healthy. He can come in and do well, I think. Maybe he'll be able to revitalize some of his 2015 season where he hit 16.1 average. That's insane. 10 touchdowns. If he can come back into our team and do that, welcome aboard. So yeah, I think the wide receiver position out of the 4 guys I mentioned, Wilson, Parker, Stills, and Grant, those last 2, maybe even 1 or 3 spots are up for grabs. But like I said, I think it's going to be Preston Williams, Alan Hearns, but you never know. Some guy like Saeed Blackney or maybe Bryce Butler and Isaiah Ford make the roster. You never know. It all comes down to how they perform in the preseason, how they perform in training camp. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch out for that. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe if you want to see more Miami Dolphins content, and I will see you guys next time.